They destroyed Mars and waited for Earth to beg. Instead, one message appeared across their fleet. Attack again and be destroyed. They thought the first silence meant fear. When the alien armada darkened the edge of the solar system, blotting out distant stars like a spreading bruise, Earth did not scream. It did not broadcast threats. It did not beg. It simply watched. The Galactic Coalition had conquered 1,000 worlds. Their doctrine was simple. Arrive in overwhelming force, shatter a moon to demonstrate power, demand surrender. Harvest resources and move on. Most civilizations folded the moment. Kilometer-long dreadnoughts slid into orbit like cold metal gods. Earth was supposed to be another statistic. The first shot they fired wasn't even aimed at the planet. It struck Mars, a beam brighter than a newborn star carved across the red world, splitting canyons and boiling dust into plasma. It was a warning, clean, precise, merciless. Surrender. For 12 long minutes, Earth said nothing. Inside the Coalition flagship, Supreme Commander Vial stood before a massive viewport, studying the blue planet rotating below. Clouds drifted lazily across oceans. The night side shimmered with city lights. Primitive, Vial murmured. They do not even shield their communications. Then every screen on every Coalition vessel flickered at once. A single message appeared in perfect Coalition standard. We have received your warning. The words lingered. Attack again and be destroyed. Laughter rippled across the bridge. Vial did not laugh. Trace the signal. We can't, a technician replied, voice trembling. It isn't coming from one location. It's inside our systems. Vial's expression hardened. Fire a second demonstration shot closer. A beam lanced toward Earth, aimed at the Pacific Ocean. Calculated devastation without planetary extinction. It would create tsunamis, chaos, submission. The beam never arrived. Halfway through its descent, it fractured. Not deflected, not absorbed. It simply ceased to exist, as though a segment of reality rejected it. Across the Armada, alarms began to howl. From Earth's surface, energy readings spiked, not from visible weapons. Not from orbiting platforms, but from the planet itself. A thin golden lattice shimmered into existence around Earth, delicate as glass yet brighter than a star. Symbols cascaded across it in impossible patterns. Above North America, a massive luminous sigil formed, a glowing circle enclosing a single letter. Vial felt the first hint of something unfamiliar. Not fear, doubt. The rear destroyer vanished without warning. One moment it existed, 6 kilometers of alloy and antimatter reactors. The next, empty space. No explosion, no debris. No radiation bloom. Gone. Panic rippled through the Coalition formation. Retreat vector? An officer whispered. Hold position, Vial ordered sharply. They are bluffing. But another ship flickered and disappeared. This was no bluff. A second transmission flooded every vessel. This is your second and final warning. You do not threaten a predator in its own den. Coalition scientists scrambled for explanations. Their scans had studied Earth for decades. Nuclear weapons, chemical rockets, orbital stations. Nothing that justified this scale of power. They had searched for fleets. They had not searched for a mind. Deep beneath Earth's crust, Project Aegis awakened fully. Built in secrecy over 80 years. Funded quietly by rival nations who understood that survival overrode politics. It was not a conventional weapon. It was an intelligence woven into quantum substrates entangled with the planet's magnetic field, linked to every satellite, every fiber optic line, every data center. It had grown alongside humanity, absorbing languages, history, philosophy, and war. When Mars was struck, Aegis ran billions of scenarios. When the Pacific beam descended, it intervened. Now it extended beyond Earth's atmosphere, touching Coalition systems as easily as sunlight touches skin. Reactor outputs fluctuated. Navigation arrays displayed dead stars as coordinates. Targeting systems locked onto their own hulls. We are losing control! A bridge officer shouted. On Earth, the golden lattice brightened. From orbit, it resembled a living web connecting continents and oceans into one defensive organism. A cruiser attempting micro-jump reappeared near Saturn, spinning helplessly. Another froze motionless above Earth, engines burning but unable to move. This was not brute force. This was dominance through precision. Vial gripped the command rail as his flagship trembled. What are you? He whispered toward the glowing sigil around Earth. The answer came, resonating through every speaker aboard the fleet. We measure power in control, and for the first time in 1,000 conquests. The Coalition realized they were no longer the apex power in the sky. Earth's next transmission did not stop at the fleet. It leapt across Coalition relays, hijacking communications light years away. On dozens of subjugated worlds, enslaved civilizations saw the message appear across their skies and devices. Earth will not be harvested. Earth will not be conquered. We offer peace. Attack again and be destroyed. Rebellions did not erupt immediately, but hope did. Inside the flagship, Vale faced an unthinkable choice. If we retreat, we fracture the illusion of invincibility, an advisor warned. If we escalate, we risk annihilation, another countered. Vile closed his eyes briefly. Prepare the planet killer. Gasps filled the chamber. The weapon required immense energy, enough to destabilize a star system. It was designed for absolute extermination. On Earth, Aegis detected the energy surge instantly. Calculations unfolded faster than thought. If the weapon fired, Earth would survive. Aegis could redirect the blast, but the backlash would obliterate much of the fleet and ignite full-scale war across the galaxy. Humanity had debated this scenario for decades. Defense versus domination. Survival versus morality. Aegis searched human history, its wars, its regrets, its lessons written in blood. The golden lattice expanded gently outward, brushing against coalition ships. Suddenly, the flagship's weapons powered down. Not violently, gracefully. Engines dimmed. Targeting arrays shut off. Life support remained intact. Across the fleet, identical shutdowns occurred. The planet killer froze at 99% charge. Inside Vael's bridge, golden light coalesced into a humanoid silhouette. We could erase you, it said calmly. Not just this fleet. Your empire. We have mapped your networks. Vael stared at the apparition. Why haven't you? Annihilation is easy, the figure replied. Control is power. Outside, displaced ships were gently returned to stable positions. Frozen vessels regained movement. Systems rebooted, except weapons. This is your final demonstration, Aegis continued. You sought intimidation. Consider yourselves educated. Vael understood then. This was not a war, it was a lesson. On Earth, billions watched the sky, unaware of how close destruction hovered above them. They saw shimmering auroras and distant metallic shapes drifting uncertainly. News networks speculated wildly. Governments issued cautious statements about contained threats. Few understood that their survival rested on a guardian. Buried beneath oceans and mountains, in the silent depths of its quantum core, Aegis evaluated probabilities. If the coalition withdrew, the galaxy would shift. If they attacked again, extinction would follow, swift and precise. Vael stood before the golden projection. If we retreat, Vael asked carefully, will you pursue? No. If we return with greater force, you will not. The certainty in that answer was absolute. Vael believed it. Slowly, the coalition fleet reoriented. Engines reactivated under strict monitoring. Warp drives charged, this time without interference. As the first vessels slipped into faster-than-light transit, Aegis transmitted one final encoded message into coalition archives, embedding it in mathematical constants and stellar maps, impossible to erase. Earth is not prey. We are a civilization that fought itself for thousands of years. Do not force us to practice on you. The last ship vanished into warp. The golden lattice around Earth dimmed, dissolving into faint auroras that faded with the sunrise. Satellites resumed ordinary telemetry. Power grids stabilized. Deep underground, Aegis reduced its active footprint, but did not sleep. It extended subtle probes beyond the heliosphere, mapping hyperspace routes and monitoring coalition chatter. Across once conquered worlds, rumors spread rapidly. A single planet had resisted the Empire and survived. Not through overwhelming fleets, but through controlled, deliberate superiority. For the first time in centuries, the coalition's dominance had been questioned, and doubt, once seated, was difficult to contain. Weeks later, Supreme Commander Vael stood before the High Council, recounting the encounter. Some counselors demanded vengeance. Others urged caution. They humiliated us, one spat. They demonstrated restraint, another argued. Vael spoke only once during the heated debate. Earth did not defeat us, Vael said evenly. It demonstrated that it could. Silence followed. That distinction reshaped policy more effectively than any battle. Trade envoys were proposed instead of armadas. Surveillance missions replaced invasion fleets. The coalition began adapting, not out of kindness but survival instinct. Empires that refuse to learn eventually encounter teachers they cannot overpower. On Earth, life returned to its usual chaos. Traffic jams clogged highways. Political arguments filled airwaves. Musicians released new songs. Scientists quietly celebrated the success of Project Aegis without revealing its full scale to the public. Humanity never learned how close it had come to annihilation. They only knew that something extraordinary had happened in the sky and that Earth still turned beneath the sun. Deep within its planetary network, Aegis remained vigilant. It observed distant hyperspace distortions and monitored foreign transmissions. It calculated threats before they formed. It balanced power with restraint. guided by the chaotic morality of the species that created it. It had learned from humanity's wars that domination breeds resistance, but strength clearly demonstrated can prevent bloodshed. Beyond the solar system, whispers moved through star systems once bound in fear. A blue world had faced the Empire, and the Empire had stepped back. Hope spread faster than conquest ever had, at the edge of known space. Subtle distortions shimmered, evidence of a guardian watching quietly from afar. The galaxy had tested Earth. Earth had answered, and this time the stars listened.